Welcome to Ghettofication. I'm your host, Jayson Cross, and today I'm here with Cashis Wesley. What's up, bro?
What's going on, brother? How you been?
I'm good, man. We always have very good conversations. Politics, race, relationships. And I recently called you, and we were speaking about, I saw this post online about what's a real man. Okay. And women saying, what's a real man? Have you seen those?
I've seen posts and clips about men and women talking about what is and what isn't appropriate for relationships, and what men want, what women want, and are any good men out there, and all kind of nonsense. I don't really get into that stuff because it's all about in the sense now. You have discussions regarding opposite sexes, right? Mm-hmm. The African perspective is that we're not opposites, we're complementary sexes. Opposites are in opposition. Complements are cooperation and cooperation. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these discussions are coming from opposing points of view as opposed to cooperating point of views. Our bodies, mammals, which are about 240 million years old, have evolved to fit one another, male and female. So if you understand that evolutionary dynamic, then you know that this fighting that's going on right now is built upon a sense of opposition as opposed to complementarity.
What do you attribute all the argument to? It seems like men and women don't like each other. If you look online, it seems like men don't like women and women don't like men. And the only time they come together if it's a situation based on usury.
Again, it goes to the foundational perspective on which the interaction takes place. If you see your wife as your complement, you're in cooperation with one another. If you see her as your opponent, you're going to fight. It's just that simple. So the answer to your question is the fact that in this society, men and women are seen as opposites. And from that oppositional perspective, you have a lot of conflict. And it has many manifestations.
What effect do you think that's going to have on procreation? Because it seems like men and women don't get together. If you look online, just social media, it looks like men and women don't get together to procreate anymore.
Population are growing, so that's still occurring.
Okay, so that's still going.
The only thing going on is that now you have fewer men procreating with more women.
Oh.
So you're going back to the
top 10%.
Right, or if that. Because I forgot the numbers. And people who actually talk about this all the time have these numbers about how nowadays college students aren't having sex, and you have these incels, involuntarily celibate.
We used to have another name for it when I was younger.
Yeah,
because it can't get no boop.
Exactly. So that's just what it is. So when you have that dynamic, that's among males. Females don't have the problem as far as not having sex.
There are no incel females. Or no females in the incel? No, I'm asking. I don't know.
No, you always have females who aren't that sexually attractive. You have your Roseannes or what have you. You've always had those.
But even those who aren't sexually attractive, a guy
will still give it. Remember, there was Adele Gibbons, right? Mm-hmm. Remember her? She had a joke saying a guy will do anything with a big butt, right? She was like, "Yo, she could go have an eye right here." You felt that big eye, that one eye girl? She had a fat ass. So a female, because we tend to be aggressive and pursue, will get somebody. Even if she isn't the most attractive, even if she's a Beyonce.
Could it be because men are more compassionate? Because, like you said, men will find something to appreciate. You just said with the compassionate, like you said with the Cyclops, a guy would look at her and find the one thing he likes about her.
Is that compassion or just trying to get your rocks off? Well, compassion is like a feeling of, endearment. And
that's endearing itself. Endearing itself to her one good quality.
Okay, well, if you want to spend it that way, fine. But again, it's just for purely procreational purposes or just sexual purposes. Because you can have sex and not procreate. We're still having that. The population isn't going down.
Okay.
But again, a relationship where it's long term or long standing or on good terms, that's something else. Because you can have sex with somebody you don't like. Mm-hmm. We all have had that.
I wouldn't say I have, but
okay. Well, you know what? I'll speak for myself.
Stop generalizing. No.
So at the end of the day, because the physicality is the primary point or primary focus of the relationship or the pair bond, if you don't have that, you have nothing. So again, you have a lot of conflict where if you're not in the bedroom, the other 23.5 hours of the interaction is not going to be constructive. It's going to be what you see online. So you have a guy with multiple women, a woman who have, a guy, and that'll be that. And then when they get done having sex, they'll talk about how much each other ain't nothing.
Have you ever noticed when you see these videos, they always say, well, a real man is a man that does blank, 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 blank.
Yeah.
And it's always something to cater to
the
whoever's
woman.
making the video, usually a woman.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on that?
Again, either you're a man or you're not. And men, see, difference between men and males.
Mm-hmm.
People tend to conflate sex and gender. A male is just a person with the sexual organs to genitalia. A man is not purely an adult male. A man, according to this society, this gender role, you have to provide, protect, lead, create structure. Those are things that men do. And we do that without question. We fix, we solve. So if you don't have a male who is providing, protecting, leading, doing those things in order to make sure that the woman is taken care of, then I understand if a woman says that, they're not real men around there. Because it's the old saying, you got to pay the cost to be the boss.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of males want women to be submissive, but want them to work and split 50-50. I don't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
So this way, a lot of conflict is coming place. It's coming from. A lot of women want more quote unquote traditional roles from the society, but males don't want to carry out those responsibilities, but still want to spoil us from that type of treatment.
So it's like one of those questions, though. Which comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Well, in that respect, the egg came first. That's very easy.
Okay.
The chicken came from egg-laying reptiles.
Okay.
So it's not a conundrum if you understand evolutionary biology.
Mm-hmm.
Fish evolved into amphibians, and amphibians evolved into reptiles. Reptiles branched off. One became mammals. One became birds.
Mm-hmm.
So if you ask, well, how do birds have kids? They lay eggs. How do mammals have kids? 3 ways. They lay eggs. They have the marsupials. They have and they have placentals like your humans.
Mm-hmm.
But the earliest mammals, monotremes, lay eggs, which comes from the reptiles, which they evolved from laying eggs as well. So it came first, chicken and egg. The egg came first. Egg came from egg-laying reptiles, so then evolved into birds.
See, this is why I like talking to you. You went off on a whole tangent. When I said what comes first, the chicken or the egg, I meant it as women not submitting or men not providing.
Well, again, a man will provide.
Okay.
So if a woman
But which has to come first, in your opinion?
man being a man.
Okay.
Because I don't have issues with women submitting, quote unquote,
Mm-hmm.
because there's power in submission. And if you're taking care of your woman properly, she's typically not going to give you many issues. So, I mean, of course, nothing's perfect. You're going to have some type of conflict because you're different people. But overall, if a woman's not appreciative, I tend to look at the man she's with because you're the leader, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, leader means responsible, able to respond, having the power. So you can't want the responsibility of being a leader, and when things go wrong, eschew blame.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have it both ways. Do you want to be the man or do you not want to be the man? So if you're looking at a relationship and this pair bond is going awry and you're still trying to make it work, it has to be your fault because you're the leader.
So the blame always falls on the leader.
Exactly.
Yes, of course.
So, I mean, if you're not the leader, that's something different. If you're saying, you know what, she's the leader and she's, wearing the pants, quote unquote, wearing the pants, then that's something different. You want something different. You have women now proposing to males.
I saw that online. Why? So I consider that to show disintegration or
Absolutely.
just relationships and values and everything. How do we get to that point where a woman is proposing to a man?
A snake rots from the head down. A fish rots from the head down.
So once again, it's the men's fault.
You're the leader. So how did we get to this point? Well, that's another topic altogether. You got to look at, I guess, males not wanting to be men anymore. The responsibility of mobility.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding that, you know what, it's a lot of pressure. You have a different world now. And people just nowadays are not they're not built the same way. I mean, let's just keep it real.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not built the same way. Like when we was coming up, no such thing as cyberbullying. Somebody was bullying you because
there was no cyberbullying. There was face-to-face bullying.
Right.
Yeah.
So now you have cyberbullying. You have individuals who, are concerned about likes and people following them. When we was coming up, you might want to following you, knowing everything you did, everywhere you went.
Yeah.
So if you look at the overall society, and I think Generation Z, whatever it's called.
I think this is past Generation Z.
Oh.
This has something.
Whatever it is,
Yeah.
I think 1/5 of people now, the latest generation, they don't identify themselves as a male or female. They're non-binary. So when you have all these type of terms of confusion and no more structure, then everything falls apart.
This reminds me when they locked up all the gang leaders in Chicago. No more structure. Now it's pure chaos in the streets.
Absolutely. Again, leadership. This the fish rots from the head. So whenever you're looking at something that's going awry, look at the leadership, look at the direction, look at who's supposed to be in charge. That, again, the responsibility of mobility. You want to be in charge, there's a responsibility there. So people don't want the responsibility, because responsibility, i.e. able to respond, means power. You don't want the power. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Pay the cost to be the boss. Whatever term you want to use to describe, whatever idiom you want to apply.
You've been listening to a lot of James Brown before you came here, didn't you? Heavy is the head wearing the crown. It's a man's world. It's pay the cost to put the boss.
No,
wait.
Woman wrote that, though.
Really?
Yes.
Who?
I remember her name, but she wrote that.
Huh.
I don't say it's a man's world in particular, because, again, complementary. Like in ancient Kemet, in ancient Egypt, you were the pharaoh because of who your mother was, not because of who your father was. And that was also in Ethiopia, too, as well as many areas in Africa. You was matrilineal. So if you were the God incarnate, it was because because of the woman you came from, so who really is the God? The first deity was feminine. So again, if you
Are we talking about Isis?
even before then, Hathor.
Hathor.
And Osset is the original name of Isis.
Set?
Osset.
Osset.
Yeah, Osset. Like you have different iterations, but Hathor, Osset, Net. You have various feminine manifestations of the deity, but again, it was initially when it was personified. It was initially female, it wasn't male. So what I'm saying is that good leaders are good listeners.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're listening to who you're supposed to lead, then who again is really the lead? It's all perspective. So again, when I'm looking at these things and I see the complementary pieces are not fighting, are fighting and they're not in cooperation, you have disintegration. Just that simple.
Do you think it ever goes back in a traditional sense to where the man will be the head of the family again and things will fall into order, or are we too far gone?
I think you have pockets where that's still the case. I think that whenever you have a man around, things like that fall into place. You have these situations occur when you don't have men around, you have males around, right? You don't have these strong figures, like single mothers. Again, you have women weren't meant to be single mothers. You're meant to be in a community.
Well, what if they're strong and independent?
Nobody's independent.
I've heard it a million times. I'm strong, independent.
You can be strong,
and
but you're always interdependent.
I've heard double negatives. I don't need no man.
Okay, see how far they get you. See, you can maladapt, right? People can maladapt to a certain type of treatment that isn't good for them. People can have a diet that's not good for them, but still eat it, right? We have a diet here as Africans born in the United States, the Northern European diet, drinking milk and eating meat. That's why so many of us have lactose intolerance. If you look at the map, the higher you go north, the less lactose intolerance you have. The more you go south, the more lactose intolerance you have, because that's not our diet. We've been maladapted. So you can maladapt socially as well, which is what you're saying. So if a woman's telling you she don't need no man, and she don't want no man, fine. See how far that gets you. And on the flip side, a man can say, well, he don't need no woman either. See how far that gets you. So again, it's cooperation, complementarity, not opposition and conflict.
What do you think brought women to that point? What really brought women to the point of saying, I don't need a man? I could do bad by my damn self. Because there have been songs leading up to this since the 70s. And probably before. I can only go back as far as the 70s. But they probably had songs about this in the 60s as well.
I would say
no romance without finance.
Well, yeah, you got to have a J-O-B if you want to be with me. Exactly. Now that shouldn't be controversial.
Ain't nothing going on
but the rent. So like you want to have a gigolo where he wants the spoils. Or if Richard Douglas said you want there's no struggle without no struggle without progress.
No progress without struggle.
Excuse me. And see, individuals want to be pimps, want to have women take care of them.
Well, if you grew up in the 70s and you see the Mac and Superfly, and
right, so
that's what was promoted.
So again, this is
for a certain segment of society,
certain population, right? So that's what I'm talking about. So, and when you have that plus the government giving certain programs to women if the man was in the household, and mass incarceration, infusing drugs in black areas. It's like it's not one thing. It's a conflation of things, right? Mm-hmm. It's a combination of a correlation of things, which led to this outcome. So yeah, you can look at the government giving women benefits if there's no man around. You can look at how certain males just mistreated women and they got tired of it. You can look at how women were getting want the workforce, getting more money. And if a woman's in the workforce, not in the house, she's effectively in society a man. Right.
Wait, break that down.
And we have to reproduce in order to survive.
Yes.
Right. I believe God put women here not to do everything a man could do, but do things that we can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But they can do it if need be. For example, in 1900, there was something called the last Asante War, where the Asante fought the British. In 1900, it was led by a woman named Asante. She was 60 years old. She wanted to fight the British because she wanted to defend her king. The men didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight. So she said, listen, you don't want to fight the white man? We, the women, will fight the white man. And she led the army and she fought him. She lost. But again, you see an example of males not being men and women having to take over. So when you have a situation where the man's not around, something has to get done, women take over. So again, you had a lot of that too. And like I said, when you have the drugs, infusing homosexuality, you have, the government, saying that you get these certain benefits if you don't, have a man in the house. It's a correlation of things. This is why we have what we have now.
But to get to that point where it says, I don't need no man, it sounds like extreme frustration.
Yes.
What was the tipping point to I don't need no man? Because it's been in the music since the 70s and 80s. Well, but even in the 70s.
I don't think ain't nothing going on, but the rent is not saying I don't need a man. It's saying, if I have a man. It's saying,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah. If you got to have a job if you want to be with me. So if you don't have a job, no romance without finance. That's understood. That only offends you if you don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You have a job, it's no problem. Okay, I got a job already. That's like saying no romance without hair. We have hair. So you're not offending me. Right, but if you have no hair, you may be offended. So those were aimed at individuals who didn't want to be men.
Okay.
So
and then No Scrubs, which was a evolution of no romance without finance.
Right.
That was the next iteration. And can you pay my telephone bills? That was the next iteration.
But even then, I don't want no scrub. Yeah, because he didn't have any money.
Right.
Bills. That Destiny Child song, he ran her bills up.
Did he run her bills up, or could he pay her bills? Wait, so the song, because I can't even think of the lyrics. But so it's about a guy that
ran the bills up,
ran her credit card up.
My bill, pay my telephone bill, pay my auto bill.
Wait, he ran her credit card and her cell phone bill up.
Cause listen, women are giving, right? All right.
Well, back then though, that's before cell phone. So was this dude making long distance calls from her house phone,
telephone bill,
letting his friend call from jail on the phone?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because women are giving. Like a woman makes a house a home. Mm-hmm. A woman's body is a home.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's why nobody wants a dirty woman. Because a dirty house indicates a dirty woman.
Mm.
So she's welcoming. You feed off her body. The first Eucharist was a woman. It wasn't a male.
Mm.
Right. And you look at the Immaculate Conception. that was initially thought to be the case because women, the role of men, was not understood in procreation back then. Women were thought to just get pregnant.
Oh.
And then after they would have a baby, the baby would feed off of them. So women are the house. Like economics or economy came from ecology, because eco means house. Nomi means law. Logi means study. The study of the house and the laws of the house came from women running the house. So all these things took place because women are giving. So back to the song, he ran the bills up. She wanted paid.
So what lyrics they say that she say that the man ran the bills up?
I mean, I don't know that. I mean, you can look it up on what's that lyrics?
Lyrics.com.
Lyrics.com. Yeah, that's what
I
happened.
never knew that's what it was about.
That was about. She wasn't saying no, pay my bills. No, she was like, listen, you ran them up, pay them. And again, if you have money and understand, it's no problem. Right? Sometimes you get low. You ask them, hey, let me get $3. And you pay it back. No problem. Most times you be like, yo, I got to, don't pay him. Don't even do that. Right? Now you go on a date, 50-50. How you want 50-50 and expect her to give you something when it's done? Right? So you have a
You just sound like a pimp right there. How you expect 50-50 and expect her to give you something? You gonna get 50-50 and expect her to give you something? Oh man!
But,
you just brought out some country pimping right there.
That's how it is, right?
Right.
So, and I'm not mad for saying that. Now,
right.
if that's all you want, then just say that, right? Say you want to be tricked off of. Say you want to be kept. Nothing wrong with that. That's what you want. But, understand that a man's not going to take you seriously if that's all you want.
The woman or the man? Oh, the man's not going to take the woman seriously.
If that's all she wants to be taken care of and not provide anything else except for just looking good and not keeping a clean house, not cooking, not doing nothing, okay, that's where you may have an issue. But again, different strokes for different folks. My point is that the deterioration of the relationship, I have to blame the male first because he's the leader. It's just that simple. Now, you can go into white supremacy and all other things. Yeah, that's...
Wait, what white supremacy have to do with the deterioration of relationships?
Because the Europeans' idea is opposite sex. That's the water, right?
Oh, okay, I get it.
This is the water we're in, like
male, female.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
So,
is that a European idea though, or just an idea?
Absolutely, that's European.
Okay.
Right. Dog is man's best friend. Dog? About the woman. Battle of the sexes. What do you mean battle? Right? Women's liberation didn't come from black women. Came from white women. Right? Because the black woman was okay, listen, like, he ain't mistreating me.
So why do you think so many black women bought into women's liberation?
Just why the reason why so many black men brought into the white ideal. They're the reference group. So you follow them. When you want to be an American, you want to be white. You probably be an American, you're probably being white. You look at the founding fathers of this country, quote unquote. They're not Malcolm X and Malcolm Garvey. So we are adhering to an idea or a standard which they put in place. Again, they're the reference group as sociologically speaking. So just like black men trying to be like them, black women trying to be like white women, and that's where you have it. And then that's where a heightened sense of black hate comes in. Because if I see you and I don't like myself, I'm not gonna like you. So again, the conflict again, right? Have so much conflict, so many mini conflicts, which is embedded in the overall structure of survival of the fittest, quote unquote. Like there's terms like survival of the fittest, dog eat dog. Those are the end justify the mean. Those are European terms of extreme conflict and aggression. We have terms like ignorance is death, or
well, let's go ride on them fools. Or what's that you claiming?
Well, again, Negro nonsense.
Oh yes, thank you.
So you have that too. Now I'm not saying there was never any conflict in Africa.
Right.
Let's be clear. But or just like there was never I'm not saying there was never any conflict in here where Native Americans were.
So you said earlier, no man wants a dirty woman. Do you think body count is important?
It's important if you are not confident in who you are.
So what if a woman had a body count of 50?
How old is
Would
she?
you see that problem?
I mean,
be
how old is she?
problematic?
See, again, if
Or
was she,
60 or 100 or
how old? Oh, okay. Now you're getting triple digits. Okay. How old is she now? If she's 30 years old, never been married, and
yeah, 30 years old, never married, body count 50.
okay, when you start having sex, how long were you with these guys?
It couldn't be that long if she's 30 years old.
Well, I mean, well, maybe she had a whole phase. I don't know. Like, it's again, how do you quantify it? With me, and also, what do you count as a body? Because nowadays, remember we was coming up.
No, we're not gonna play semantics with bodies. Come on, man.
No. I'm saying because here's how women
Okay.
do. Some women do. Excuse me. They will say, if a guy goes down on them, they don't count that.
Right.
Or
Vice versa.
vice versa. I knew this girl who was on tour with me years ago. She was like 19. Said she was a virgin. She was a stripper.
What?
But she let guys anally have sex with her, quote unquote, because you can't have sex anally.
Sodomize. Let's say sodomize.
Right. But she was technically a virgin. Right? Because sex is only coitus, penis and vagina. That's what sex is. If you didn't do that, you're not having sex.
Did you consider her a virgin?
Technically, she was. Not in the spirit of virginity, but if she hadn't been penetrated, she technically never had sex.
So her body count is 0.
It was 0. So again, it's like, what are we talking about, right? Are we talking about at 30 years old, if a woman had 30 sexual encounters where penetration occurred? I gotta think, okay, well, where's your father?
Damn, that's the first thing you. What if she had 3? Would you ask the same question?
Yeah.
So if she had 3 sexual encounters by 30, you still would ask, where's her father?
Well, that's a question, because how a woman sees a man is based upon largely.
So you would ask what, no matter what the number was.
Well, I wouldn't ask the number, period.
Okay.
Right. Not like if we're talking that comes up, yeah. But as far as, hey, well, by the way, how many? No, I don't, because one, I don't know how you're gonna tell me the truth, and 3, what I got to do with me right now? Because if I ain't gonna be number 30 or 4, whatever it is, I don't really care.
Well, you were always a Magic Johnson fan, so being 32 is not that bad. Or was it Michael Jordan? Let's say 23.
Yeah, 23, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not something that I think is appropriate for the first time. Because again, what if she asks you?
Yeah.
Are you gonna count the woman who went down on you, or you it's just it's too messy. You get to know a person first.
Yes.
Because if you just go into that stuff right there and you don't get to know them, you don't want to know them, then it's not based on anything except something physical. And if that's what you want, fine. But if you want something more, you got to be something more.
Why do you think so much emphasis is put on body count now?
I don't think it's now. It's always been the case. But again, a lot of males don't want to compete with other men. Because if let's say if you know that, all right, she had 20 dudes and she's 30, and you've had 3 women and you're 33, right? She's been with basketball players, been with millionaires, right? You're gonna be like, wow, how can I measure up? So a lot of times with males, they're comparing themselves against who she may have been with, and they may think they fall short. So they want a woman who is not experienced, so they can be trash and still be loved. See, me, I don't mind competing.
So you're saying they don't want a reference point
Exactly.
or a measuring stick to measure them by. They just want to be the only point of reference.
Or they know that they really ain't that good because they've been told they ain't that good. So they want to make sure, okay, you know what's the point of reference? It's like cooking. If your mama can cook, then you want a woman who can cook too. You ain't gonna have no woman who wants to just make reservations. See, everything's a point of reference. So if you as a man had a mother who cooked, and that's what you loved, you want home cooked meals. A woman can't cook. That's gonna be like, okay, listen, we gotta work on this. If you're used to women who have a certain level of intellect, and she wants to talk about Housewives of Atlanta and Cardi B songs all the time, it's not going to work. We all need points of reference. So a body count is a sexual point of reference. And while the sexual point of reference is not good, if other points of reference are, how much you make. Now, I'm not saying that if you don't make $1 million, you shouldn't have somebody. But you should be able to take a woman out to dinner. That should be a prerequisite. So if you don't have a job, I gotta have a job. See, you see a lot of insecurities in what people respond to.
Absolutely.
So with me, if she had 1,000 sexual partners, she's 30 years old, 20 years old. Obviously, you don't want me. You're a porn star. You do something that I can't. It's like you have this insatiable desire because I ain't trying to have sex 20 times a day. I got a job to do. I got work, and that's fine, right? If you want somebody who could do that and just want to have sex all day, have at it. Everything ain't for everybody.
So what'd you think about Kevin Samuels?
He made a lot of good points. I didn't agree with everything he said. I think he was a bit effeminate. I think that when he says Russell Wilson was a simp because other guys thought he was a simp, I think that was kind of faulty logic because certain guys thought he was a homosexual, but he was a homosexual apparently. So it's not all about what people think. But when he said if a woman is 5'2", she has no business being over 150 pounds, 120 pounds, whatever it was.
It was like 150 or something. I think he said.
It's right. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, why should you be short and fat? Right? And he got on guys too, pause.
Yeah.
Right? It wasn't.
No, you're not supposed to say pause anymore. It's no Diddy. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, he was an equal opportunity. Now, a lot of his audience, they were not very bright women. Let's be clear. Like, their logic was faulty, their reasoning was faulty, and he called them out on it. But he's a person with an opinion, and that was it. You don't like his opinion, don't listen to him. So that's my thoughts. If you didn't like him, listen to him. You thought he has some validity to what he was saying, listen. If you didn't, turn the TV.
What did you disagree with?
Again, his perspective on Russell Wilson. He had a couple of things. I wasn't a big Kevin Samuels fan, so I don't listen to everything he said. But again, he seemed like he was a bit effeminate.
What about him did you find effeminate?
At times he had an effeminate look. And you would see old pictures of him and he'd be like this or whatever it was. I mean, he just wasn't a really masculine, rough-looking guy. But, he kind of on the pretty side. But that was it. That's my opinion. I wasn't trying to have sex with him.
No.
So I mean, like, what he did is what he did.
No, I was just wondering if it was something he said or
not like he never said
his
anything.
Point of view or his outlook on something. I was wondering if.
No, he was just critical, but he was critical of women because they called. That was his audience. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a lot of guys calling. I remember one guy called. He was like, "Okay, let me ask you something." He said, "How tall are you?" He said, "You have a big dick?" And the guy said, "Well, I don't know." He
what?
Said,
he asked?
Yeah, he asked, "You have a big dick?" He said, "I don't know." He said, "You don't got a big dick. You have a big dick, you know." And it's true, right? So he was like, "Okay, well, you make $40,000. You got a little dick, and you're overweight. What do you expect?" It makes sense. So people don't like being told the truth.
No,
in many instances, right?
Most people don't like being told the truth.
In many instances,
but that's kind of harsh. You make $40,000, you're short and overweight, and you have a little dick. What do you expect to get?
But again, what do you expect to get? Let's be real. We are mammals, and in humans, you have something called sexual dimorphism, where males are bigger than the females, and the bigger males tend to get more females. Right? What female? If she's okay, although they're not going to admit this, by and large, a lot of them do. I've asked this question. Let me ask you something to women. What would you rather have? What would you rather do? Would you rather share a Boris Cujo or have Flavor all to yourself? So again, let's not act as though guys who are bigger, stronger, make more money are not more sexually attractive, more appealing to women. So if a guy's like that, he's not going to get much attention. And that's just how it is.